Right, then, we're with our Kathy.
Yeah, here we are. Sketchbook again.
Is this the originals?
The original drawing is in here, but this is how we start.
So this is nice to see.
Mel and I will have a conversation about subject matter, and in this case, the hippo. And actually, these were the first three that I just quickly doodled. Now, can you see there's a cross and a cross and a tick and a tick? Yeah. So I will show her the first three, and she'll go yes, no, no. And then with a tick, I will then take it a bit further, but it can go, you know, in fact, I don't think we ended up with any of those, but it just keeps morphing and changing. And I illustrate, I'm basically on tracing paper probably about 90% of the time, because I do an original drawing, then something might change. So, for example, this one, I did a mouth, didn't like it, so I just trimmed the mouth off, put my tracing paper over the top, and then go over the top of that. So then I haven't got to redraw the whole thing, just elements.
Oh, I can't believe these are like quick drawings though for you. This is like a whole year at school for me.
Yeah. So that, you know, if you saw it, you know, in person, you just see all these little bits, you know, like for the ears, and I just chop and you can see holes cut out of it. It's very much the old-fashioned way of doing paste and copy.
It's very rare you get to see this detail there, because we always see the finished samples, but we very rarely get to see where the actual images started from.
And then we go on to, I do all the writing by hand. I trained actually as a calligrapher, so that's a skill I do have. And also we do the silhouettes as well, which we'll try and get the odd silhouette on. So actually that was the original drawing that is on the hippo stamp, and that's the stamp.
Look at this. And so how long roughly would this journey take you to do?
It depends. Sometimes I can do one drawing and it's pretty well there, and then I'll trace over the top and do it really neatly, or I can spend weeks and weeks on something.
Just tweaking and
and changing. And it has been known that it's even gone to packaging and everything, and then Mel will say to me, you know those ears on that thing? And I said, yeah. They're not right, and then we'll have to
go back again.
Yeah, and we always rectify if there's something that's not right, because if we think it's not right, then other people will think the same. So we do try and. So that was my first doodle, and actually, I wasn't overly keen on the buffalo. He's now my favourite, or she's now my favourite, yes. There's a lot you can do, especially with the ears, making them 3D. So again, lots of doodles. This is just the silhouette, the drawings of the silhouette that went on a little bit of a journey. And this is different experiments with fonts, which I've hand-drawn. And that's the original. And the reason it hasn't got an eye is I actually would then crop that out and flip it so the eyes are match, and that's what you get on the stamp. You get this lovely corner, which is great for doing, you know, if you want to do journals. I've used that on lots of things, just on its own. So, do you want me to carry on, or shall we get straight onto the demo?
What do you want to do, Lot? Let's do a demo.
Okay.
We'll do a demo.
We'll
come back to the book. I could literally sit and look at that book for hours, just watching the journey and how it's all been created.
Right. On Facebook, I have shown people my pot of salt. Now, this is really old. I've had this tin of salt for years and years and years. It hasn't got a sell-by date, but I've just finished it. And in our last one, we came in with Cut Above about 2 weeks ago for our one-day special. We did a load of repurpose recycling projects, and I thought this would be perfect, which I want to stamp on and create it into like a gift box.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, anything I can drag out of the recycling box, I try and do. Yeah. So what I started with is a piece of Bockingford, and I made sure that it fits exactly all the way around.
So we've got this on the show. What's so special about this
paper? Firstly, it's made in the UK.
Okay.
It's milled in the UK, so it hasn't got a whole load of air miles on it. It's a quality watercolour paper, and it's hot pressed, which means it's very, very smooth. A lot of watercolour papers have a bit of a tooth to them. This doesn't. And head of our design team, she introduced us to this, and we've introduced it to loads of people, and everybody we introduce it to sticks with it, and we wouldn't use anything else now. In fact, all the paintings you see behind that's all Bockingford. What we're going to do is I'm going to create a background, and I'm going to use the new colours. These are brand new to Pink Ink.
There's new colours on the show as well. Oh, there's lots of new on this show.
There are pastels, and we've been wanting to do pastels for a while now. I'm just using my tile, which goes everywhere with me.
So we've got new colours as well. So these are the new, these are beautiful. These are the pale peach, soft sage and primrose yellow.
That one on the top, on the far edge, this one, this is this colour here. We don't often bring it, but it's one of Mel's favourite colours. And if you look really carefully at the spoon, it's got gold in it. Can you just look on the...
Like a little
just
shimmer.
on the, yes, it's really pretty and goes really well with pink. Pink and hazelnut is a really good combination. So on my piece of Bockingford that's going to go around my salt pot, I've put top, and I've called it my master, but I put that as the top because when I put my pigment on, and I'm bearing in mind that, so this is the bottom, that's the top, my animal is going to come up from the bottom.
Okay.
So I need to think that I'm going to have a sort of a bit of a foreground and maybe go up to something paler. So I just need to know in advance. So that's the top. So I want that to be quite light. And all I do is place it in, pick up the pigment, and we have
Look
that.
how that takes on that paper.
And then what we would do, I'd leave it probably a minute or so, and then what I would do on top of that is get some water and flick some water at it, and you get these lovely sort of, a bit like when you put salt on paint, it resists. I would let it dry a little bit more, probably a minute to 2 minutes, so it's damp, and then flick. And then I'm going to bring in one that's all done and dried. Yeah, but it's full of mica, and it's a great background.
It is stunning.
Okay, I mean we might be able to do that tomorrow and use it for something, but so what I've done is I've prepared the one here, which I've used spiced pumpkin, that gorgeous hot pink, and the tarnished silver.
Okay.
So again, I think that's my bottom and that would be my top, because I've got dark here and I want something dark going up to something pale, and I've used a really pretty stamp to do these edges, and you could use that on anything and everything, just doing edges on boxes and tags and all sorts of things.
This edge that you used was on the zebra, so it was on the striped one if you're going for them individually, which is the zebra, but if you're going for the large kit you'll have them all.
Right, which one do you want me to use?
Let's go for Hippo.
Hippo. Okay,
please.
so I get the Hippo.
I didn't know I had a choice.
Yes. Well, I love them all. Well, I'll say Buffalo's probably my favourite, but I do love them all. I've stamped it with the Versacraft, which we've got on the show. This is the burgundy. They're brilliant for the Bockingford, but they're permanent on fabric. So if you get them, you can use them for both disciplines. And all you need to do with fabric is heat press them, and then you can launder them.
And they're good to go?
Yeah. And we're going to be demonstrating those tomorrow on some fabric. So I'm going to put him... Now, bearing in mind, this is going to be joined at the back, so I need to make sure my image is central. Normally when we do things we put things off centre, but this time I want it on.
They are beautiful stamps.
Okay, so that's our Hippo, and then I'm going to do some decorative work around it. Now what I could do, I could spritz that and it would start to seep and spread and would look really, really pretty, but I'm mindful of time and getting on, so I think I'm going to use a bit of orange.
So you have already gone for these, the colours as well. You're really shopping ahead. You're savvy shopping today, which is what I'm loving. The Versacraft inks are 20% already gone. So remember, you can use them on the card, but you can also use them on fabric as well. Remember, there'll be more demonstrations tomorrow. Favourite stamps. Oh, my favourite of all time. And we've got one that's slightly bigger, and that's off the Rhino. But that's great for doing backgrounds. In fact, let's use the bigger one. I do like the little stamps that you've put in, because it is those little ones that you think, I need something there, but I don't know what to put there. It's literally one of those little stamps you go, well, I'll just pop that there. It just feels like that. Yeah, and quite often the pink ink is on the group page. We see a stamp, and we often see little tiny stamps from ones we've done in the past introduced alongside, so they sort of mix with all sorts of different imagery. I mean, this splat would work with anything, really. Put some at the top. So I'm just going to build this up. Let's have a different colour. I've used orange and the burgundy, and oh, this is a pretty one. This is on the Hippo. I love this one. In fact, let's go for the lilac. Perfectly. We're very, very busy for the one-day special now. This is a pretty one.
isn't it, Adam? Look,
It really
for just doing little decorative parts to background. Let's do this in the water. In fact, this one, although it's the hippo and it's solid, it mimics this pattern on its back.
That's what I'm getting. It all ties in beautifully, and it's the little details around the other side of the hippo. You could have left that blank, but you've really not gone to. You've really gone to the detail of putting them all over and making them really look 3D.
Oh, we love detail. Oops, get it on there.
So the details are on your screen for the one-day special.
And I mean, our pots last for ages and ages. You don't mind if I sit down?
No, feel free.
We've actually bought a second chair if you want to sit next to me as well.
Oh, let's do it. Oh, I'm going to get my own chair. Oh, go on. It's very rare I get to sit down. Oh, you pair can come again.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to paint with the colours. I think I'm actually going to go for that hazelnut, because it's so pretty, and you can see how it will go really well with these sort of crimsons and pinks, and we'll put a bit of pink out as well. But we can also paint with the Versacraft. So I love this. Yeah, I love this burgundy. So we'll put a bit of burgundy out, because the Versacraft, until it's heat fixed, is water soluble. So you can use it, and that's why it works so well on the fabrics. So what we can do is start introducing a bit of tone and shade to really throw this hippo forward.
The Versacraft, though, nearly 40% of these have now gone. £12.99 for 6.
You know, and if you're going to go to the trouble of doing cushions and, you know, quilt covers and stuff, you want to be sure that you're using a pigment that when you launder it, it's going to stay on. Yeah. And when we say launder, we don't mean to fling it in the washing machine at a hot temperature. Obviously, something's handmade, or it's like if you'd embroidered something, you would wash it with care. So as long as you wash, even on a hand setting on the washing machine, you'd be fine. So you can see I'm just adding depth here and just pulling the deeper colour out with clear water to make it go pale.
So what's the bit you? It's like asking how long is a piece of string. But which bit do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy the design, or do you enjoy the playing element? So this element now, once they've done, or is it a mixture of both?
I think I like the design, really. Well, I love it all, actually. I'm very fortunate that I love every part of my job. But yeah, I love designing. I could sit and draw anything forever. That's really my passion, is drawing. I love to draw. And you know, with the Mel was telling you about Alexandra's stamps, the Pinky Inky, and you know, she's a young artist in Italy, and we like to champion young folk who have a real talent for drawing. She doesn't use a computer. We've got other artists on board as well that don't use a computer. Well, they might a little bit to digitise, but basically they draw with a leaded pencil. And I think you can tell the difference between it. There's something that is just so beautiful about it. And if we can help them and give them a platform to sort of show their work, we like to do that. Now, can you see this? You wouldn't think by putting on this hazelnut that it would make it look so good. It's just such a lovely colour. So adding green to this...
It works well,
yeah.
though.
And I'm just going to add some more and add some more depth. And the lines are in there to sort of show you where to shade. You can see that, you know, this bulge, there should be shade behind, and where it meets the water.
So this would be perfect if you're brand new to the world of stamping. You're thinking, well, maybe you've done stamping before, but you're new to the world of colouring in the designs. You want to take your craft to the next level. This is the perfect way to start, because they are beautiful images, they're hand-drawn, but you've done, once again, you've taken the hard work out because you've put the shading in where you need to go darker and where you need to go lighter. Yeah.
And then we've got our white, which I don't know if you've got this as a perfect partner at the end. We normally have it on as perfect partner. Have we, Mel? End of call.
It's the end of call, which I can't give you any details for because I haven't got them. It will be. We're just gonna have a look into it now, and then we'll let you know where they will be.
You know, and you can put this on, and if you think you've put too much on, just just smudge it with your finger, and it just adds a little bit of highlight to your painting.
Look at these. Something so satisfying about watching someone paint.
Yeah, isn't it? That's what I like about watching somebody cook, and then you get to eat it at the end as well.
So this coming together.
And then I want to put some of this pink, this lovely, lovely hot pink, which I've used here, I'm going to use in here. I'm not going to do all of it, I'll just do a little bit, so we can see how that transforms. So, you know, you could leave this empty, just as a bit of decorative shape on the back of his body, or really go to town with colouring.
Look at this. Very, very busy across the board for individuals and also for your one-day special as well.
Can you see how that white has completely transformed?
Yeah, look at that.
Transformed it. It's given it real depth and form. While you were talking to Mel, I've added a bit of the warm hazelnut to this decorative part, and then I've used a fine black pen, and I do this quite often. I go and draw in, quite often, eyes, and just define the eyes, and we've got some lovely eyelashes, and I think it sort of draws you into the bits you want people to be looking at, which is the eyes and sort of facial features predominantly. And also I've done it down here so it's darker, so again it's sort of adding to the form. And I've put in some extra whiskers because they have loads of little tiny whiskers when I was looking at them. And Mel's been on safari, and we've used a lot of her photography as inspiration for these designs. So I would say that that's pretty much good to go. I'll just quickly dry. I have dried it, but just double sure because I don't want to smudge anything. And then we're going to wrap it round with some glue onto our salt pot.
Oh my word, this is...
Okay, now what I did when I mocked it up with my rough, let me just show you this. This is the piece I just did earlier. Now, isn't that lovely? And can you see this warm hazelnut? The way it's gone with the pastel yellow is really pretty, and you get the sheen going across. So that would be a great wrapper round a pot. It'd be just so pretty. Look at that. Wow. And you can see where I put the spots of water.
Yeah,
now, had I let it dry a little bit more, that would be more prominent.
Okay.
It would be a little bit more like we've done here.
Like that one.
Right. Now, just want to point out, now here there was a little recess, and the recess of this lid went further down the top rather than just sitting on the top, and I didn't want that because this is going right up to the edge, and I didn't want the lid to go on and start scuffing the top of so what I did was I got a slither of Bockingford, just trimmed it off the top, and I just stuck it in with a bit of glue, and that's it, and that prevents the top of it going into there, because there's nothing worse than having scuff.
It looks messy, and
it looks untidy. So that's just one little thing I did. So anyway, right, we've got our piece that's going to go on. So we're going to glue. Now, I always use a solvent glue on TV because it's quick drying, but you could use any glue that you've got, as long as you're patient. Make sure we've got it bottom, and we're going to just attach it on. And I'm using this gold edge here to line up my piece of paper. Now, if you want an extra pair of hands, you could put a clothes peg or something on the top. Just make sure it's going to go around before I glue it. Yep, all lovely. So
you would never know this was a salt cake.
You wouldn't, and it's, you know, it's a perfectly decent colour on the inside. It doesn't look. The only place it looked rough was at the bottom here, where I think it had picked up a bit of moisture. But on the inside, it's a perfectly decent box. So that's that. Now I can start adding the rest of the glue all the way along. Loads of it. Round it goes.
It shows like this when I watch demos like this. It shows like this. I'm so glad they do the job I do. This is amazing.
Do you do a lot of craft yourself?
No, I'm trying to get into it, but I still get in awe of people like yourself. It's so amazing. You can turn a blank piece of card into this.
And so, what is your craft? If you could do stuff at home,
I've started knitting.
Have you?
I took that up. With a little one, we don't have glitter, you see.
Yes.
We're not allowed glitter, only because it gets everywhere. So we don't have glitter. We're doing stamping tomorrow, so we're going to try stamping tomorrow. But because of the little one as well, you see, if you have anything nice, she also wants it.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
We don't try and have nice.
Right, now while I do the lid, can you
Do you want me
just
to hold?
yeah, just hold and just keep pushing that seam because I want a nice flat seam.
Okay.
Now my lid, it's got a little recess. You can see I don't waste anything. I'll hide up the name. I've actually used it as a palette at home.
Oh yeah.
A paint palette. I quite often use lids. And what I've done is I've cut a bit of grey board that's the right size to fit on top of my salt pot. I've cut a little couple of holes in and I've lined the top with Bockingford paper. I've done the same technique where I've dipped it into my paint, lifted it up, and then I've used this really, really pretty little stamp which is from the zebra, which I've also used on the hippo, which you're doing there, and I've fed through some wire hook because I want to be able to pull my piece on and off. And what I've also done is I've made a hole, because if you don't go through this and you just glue it on, when you pull that off, you're going to pull the top off and leave that on the box. So I'm going to feed that through, but I'm actually going to put some glue around it as well, and then what I would do is I would seal the end off with like a little button or something. I'd feed it through and twist.
Oh, okay.
So
it
that
really
when
locks it in.
Yes, so it locks it in. So when you pull it, you're pulling the whole thing. So that's my process. So I'm going to add my glue. Again, solvent based for this purpose. I mean, I think here you potentially could use the 3D gel glue. That would be a good one to use.
Could you use a glue gun?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'd have thought that would be quite a good solution. On it goes. How's it sticking? All right.
I think we're stuck.
Lovely. So button on. I mean, if you wanted to, you could cover the inside as well, which actually I probably would. I'd probably put a little bit of Bockingford, but through my button goes. Do it so hopefully you can see. I will put one side and then twist it. I would make a better job of this if I was at home, but twist it round, and there's wire in this thread here, so it's nice and tight. Whoops. There we go. That's my lid.
Well, I just transfer. Oh, we've got 2 minutes left. Where's that hour gone?
Wait, so lid on. And you can see that there's a little bit of red on the outside. So what I would do is I'd get a little bit of red multi-surface or anything, and I'd add some red to this image. So
it all blends, so it looks like it's meant to be there.
Yes, it's meant to be there, because what I didn't want to do is cover it up because it's plastic, and I was a bit worried about things sticking to it. So that's why I did that. And then we've got a little gift tag, which again I've done on the Bockingford. I've painted the back with a spiced pumpkin, done my technique on the top, and of course I could write something really lovely. So you've got your beautiful gift box and gift tag.
Well, you would never have known what that originally was. And look at that now, maybe for a gift, maybe to pop your pens in, maybe to pop the paintbrushes in. There is so much that you can do. Thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks very much.
I think you've got Janice at 9.
We have.
Yes.
Oh, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. You'll need it.